In 2001, Team Silent along with Konami released what many people think is one of the greatest video games of all time, Silent Hill 2. It pushed the boundaries of what a video game could be, and over the past 2 decades it has been discussed, analyzed, and dissected many, many times. It captured the hearts of those who have played it, and its story and atmosphere stays with you long after the credits roll. And even though after 20 plus years since its release, many aspects of the game still impress, the gameplay hasn't aged very well. Hell, even when it came out, the gameplay wasn't its selling point. The story was. And because of that story, Silent Hill 2 is one of my favorite things of all time. But I'll admit, it's not the most fun game to play. The tank controls took some time to get used to, and the combat is just okay. I mean, damn, when I did get around to playing it long after its release, just getting out of the bathroom was a challenge. So while Silent Hill 2 is so beloved, it's really for its mood, atmosphere, and story. So, with the recent trend of remaking older video games, Silent Hill 2 was the perfect candidate for an upgrade. Thing is, when it was announced that developer Bloober Team would be the team handling this remake, myself and many others were worried that this may end up being a total disaster. As many of you may already know, Bloober Team didn't have the best track record before this. Their games were met with mixed reviews, and picturing what their version of Silent Hill 2 could be wasn't very pretty. And so after the first initial reveals, things were not getting any better. With every new piece of news, images, or gameplay, it felt like everything was going wrong. I don't think I've ever seen a more confusing and odd rollout for a video game before. From the time it was revealed to its actual release, news was slow and secretive. The gameplay trailers felt tonally off, and the gameplay looked rough. The rollout was so bad that Bloober Team themselves had to come out and say that it was Konami choosing to release footage of older builds of the game and that they hoped gamers, quote, give us a chance. So when the day came to finally play the Silent Hill 2 remake, I was ready to pick this thing apart and have my concerns validated. I didn't want that to happen, but I only had what I'd seen so far to go off of. But thankfully, I can say that Bloober Team did it. They really did. Silent Hill 2 Remake is not only a great remake of the beloved original, but I believe it stands neck and neck to the other recent remakes of the Resident Evil series and the incredible remake of Dead Space. Now, it's not perfect, but no game is. Not even the original Silent Hill 2, but it comes pretty damn close. So now let's get into the good and bad of Silent Hill 2 Remake and why it's mostly a great game. Let's start with the gameplay. This was the aspect of the original game that needed the biggest makeover. Tank controls and fixed camera angles haven't been the standard in gaming for many decades, and while those dated mechanics gave the original Silent Hill 2 a lot of its charm and appeal, it's just not what gamers are expecting in today's age. Games like Alan Wake 2, Resident Evil 2 and 4, and Dead Space are the new standard, and Silent Hill 2 fits perfectly within that group. You add that with the functions of the DualSense controller, and you get a satisfying gameplay throughout the entirety of this remake. Now, the structure is still the same. You explore your surroundings, go into a building that's made of mostly locked doors, and you weave your way through the maze-like buildings until you find a puzzle, allowing you to then exit and find the next place to explore. Only this time, there's no loading screens. Enemies are more prevalent, and to my surprise, the puzzles are actually really fun. That was one of my least favorite aspects of the original game. I'm not the biggest fan of puzzles, and if it's taking me too long to figure one out, taking me away from the flow of the game and my enjoyment of it, I'm that guy that immediately goes to Google. But in Silent Hill 2, I actually found myself really enjoying the puzzles and having fun finding every piece I needed. But finding said pieces is where the gameplay really shines. Engaging with the enemies throughout the game is tougher than the original. You can't really avoid most of them like you could in the OG, but in a way, it's actually a benefit to this remake. This game is scarier in my opinion, because you have to engage with most enemies, and with every swing and stomp, clearing a room full of creatures is not only terrifying, but also satisfying as hell because it's so terrifying. I can't tell you how many times those asshole mannequins popped out of nowhere and ended up getting a total beatdown because of it. The weapons in the game are also very fun to use. No longer do you plant your feet and just hold a button. It's more dynamic and strategic with a new dodge button, making for some stressful encounters at times. And so while I never really found myself running out of ammo to the point where I was screwed, this isn't Resident Evil 4 and you're no Leon Kennedy. It plays similar to A Last of Us and Resident Evil, all while still feeling like an upgraded version of the original. You're gonna find yourself looking at that ammo count pretty often, and that's a good thing. Overall, the gameplay loop kept me wanting to come back over and over again, and I can't say the same for the original game. I kept coming back to that version because of the story, but in the 2024 version, Silent Hill 2's gameplay is hauntingly fun and addicting. Next, let's talk atmosphere. And I'm going to include sound design in this because it all comes together to create one hell of a good looking game. Now, the original Silent Hill 2 had such a unique vibe and atmosphere to it. You feared the places you were entering, but you also wished you could go there yourself. In my restless dreams, I do in fact see that town. It was dreamlike with its fog-filled streets and heart-pounding with its hell-like interiors. So recreating that place in Unreal Engine 5 is a beautiful thing to see. Bloober Team perfectly kept what made Silent Hill such an enticing place to explore and experience, all while expanding upon it and making it even more terrifying and mysterious. I found myself many times just taking in my environment, slowly walking around and not feeling like I had to rush to the next objective. There was a moment as I headed towards the Silent Hill Town Museum where I found myself taking in the ominous darkness and having a feeling of relaxation for the first time in a while. I didn't want it to end. The vibes were just too good. Also, I knew what was coming next, and I knew that relaxation wasn't going to be my vocabulary much longer. So while the dreamlike aura of Silent Hill 2 is on another level in this remake, the other aspect of its atmosphere that's top-notch is how truly terrifying it can get. Wearing a good pair of headphones and playing this game at night gave me some of the most tense and unnerving experiences I've ever had with a video game.
Hello?
Most of it came in the Toluca prison and labyrinth sections. These two sections easily were the most distressing parts of the game, and at times I had no interest in looking around. I just wanted to get the hell out of there. Combine the limited lighting with the incredible sound design and you get a game that really gets your skin crawling. With every bump, scream, and enemy encounter, this is truly one of the scariest games you can play right now. Silent Hill 2 is a game you can lose yourself in, and I'm being literal here. I think I checked my map over 1,000 times just to make sure I was going the right way. But in all seriousness, Bloober Team outdid themselves with how this game looks, feels, sounds, and plays. It's the best aspect of this game and truly gives you one hell of an experience. But something interesting has happened with this remake. For the most part, fans of the original game all agree that the best part of Silent Hill 2 was its story, not its gameplay. But it feels like Bloober Team improved all the areas that the original was lacking in, but at the same time, downgraded its greatest feature, the story. So here's where I found myself a little disappointed with the Silent Hill 2 remake. Now I'm just going to come right out and say that the story of Silent Hill 2 is still awesome, and it's still incredibly faithful to the original. Even with the little twists and turns here and there, and new dialogue. If you've played the original game, you know exactly what's going to happen in this new version. And it gets it right, for the most part. But at the same time, there are two pivotal moments in this game that I believe Bloober Team really messed up. Spoilers ahead for those who haven't played. So you play as James Sunderland, a guy who comes to Silent Hill in order to look for his wife Mary after receiving a letter from her.
I got a letter.
Problem is, Mary's been dead for 3 years. Or has she? Look, I'm not going to go through the story beat for beat because there are many better video essays that analyze the narrative, but essentially James comes to town and is then taken on a psychological ride that deals with his inner conflicts and guilt. During his time in Silent Hill, he runs into many characters on their own personal journey within the town. And you figure out that the town personally manifests a different world for each character. You have Angela, a stressed teenage girl looking for her family. Eddie, an unstable, insecure guy claiming to have stumbled upon the town. Laura's a little girl that pops up here and there and makes James stay a bit difficult at times. And then you have Maria, a mysterious woman who resembles James' late wife, but in a more seductive manner. And each character gets their own important moments that help drive James's narrative forward. And so while I feel like the story is generally just as compelling as the original, Bloober Team's direction for some pivotal moments really fell flat for me and stopped this game from being a true 10 out of 10 experience for me. And these two moments really show what I'm trying to convey. Let's start with Maria's death in the Brookhaven Hospital. After having Maria by your side for a good chunk of the game, it crescendos into Pyramid Head killing her while the two of you run away into an elevator. This is a pivotal scene in the game because even with James's reluctance towards Maria, he still had someone by his side who resembles his wife, and it made you, the player, feel less alone. So when Maria eventually dies, you're now back to square one, having to move forward all by yourself. Now in the original, the voice acting and emotion is a lot more dire and nerve-wracking. Hearing Maria scream for James as James screams back really made for an impactful scene. It then ends with James slowly falling to the floor, and the camera pans to a long shot of him on the ground with his head down, as Akira Yamaoka's beautiful Magdalene plays in the background.
Open up!
The game lets you sit in what you just witnessed. It lingers as you start to move forward onto the journey. There's time to reflect and digest what just happened, making it more impactful. Now, let's watch the remakes version of this same scene.
There! An elevator! Come on, hurry!
Okay, one, Maria's run is hilarious. Two, the lack of Maria screaming and an emotionless face on her when she's killed doesn't make for a very compelling scene. And three, the choice of camera angle for James after the aftermath of what he just witnessed is sort of bland. The changes in the Magdalene scene by Akira is unfortunate. You don't really get to sit with it like you did in the original. Instead, it sort of just comes and goes in an awkward way, and then you leave the hospital. The other disappointing moment is during the staircase scene with Angela towards the end. Coming right after you are shown the truth about James and how he killed Mary, you enter this room during Angela's final moments, and it is my favorite scene in the original game. The dialogue, the atmosphere, and the mesmerizing sound of the theme of lore reprise in the background is one of the most memorable cutscenes in any video game I've ever played.
I was looking for you. Now you're the only one left. Maybe then I can rest. Mama, why are you running away? You're not my mama. It's you. Oh. I'm sorry.
Angela, no.
Thank you for saving me. But I wish you hadn't. Even Mama said it. I deserved what happened.
No, Angela. That's wrong.
No. Don't pity me. I'm not worth it. Or maybe you think you can save me. Will you love me? Take care of me? Heal all my pain? That's what I thought.
From the first-person POV of James looking at Angela as she scolds him, her asking for her knife back, and James claiming he would never off himself, to then Angela claiming that these flames are what she always sees, it's a beautiful yet tragic moment, and if you wanted to as the player, you could sit in that room and take in the music and moment as the song keeps looping over and over. Now again, here's the remakes version.
Mama? Mama! I was looking for you. You're the only one left. Maybe then I can finally rest. Mama? What's wrong? Wait. You're not my mama. It's you.
I'm sorry, Angela. I think you were right. What we're looking for, it's not here. Not anymore.
Thank you for helping me earlier. But I wish you hadn't. Even Mama said it. I deserve what happened.
No, Angela, that is not true.
Don't pity me. I'm not worth it. Or maybe you think you can save me? Will you love me? Care for me? Heal all my pain? That's what I thought.
The dialogue feels a bit rushed, and James claiming he would never hurt himself is completely gone, and unfortunately while most of Akira Yamaoka's remade music is glorious in this remake, the remake of the Theme of Lore Reprise is really bad in my opinion. Not only does it not linger and play on loop, but the change in violins sounds awful to me, and it really kills the beautiful moment it's trying to recapture. And to top it all off, the game doesn't allow you to sit in that room and take in that pivotal moment. So many times throughout Silent Hill 2 Remake's cutscenes, I found myself feeling rushed through important character moments and not being able to really digest what just happened. It's unfortunate because this remake is incredible, yet the thing that really didn't need to be fixed in the original is a bit worse in this remake. Now I will admit that some new additions to the story are very good, like a newly added scene with Angela in the park really worked for me, and overall the voice acting and performances are top notch. It just bothers me that my two favorite moments from the original game are some of the lackluster moments in this remake. Perhaps first time players of this game may not even care and will love those moments as they are here, but for me it was really disappointing to see Bloober Team swing and miss at those amazing moments. And that is the biggest reason why Silent Hill 2 Remake is mostly great. If they had nailed all the cutscenes and character moments, then this would be an easy 10 out of 10 for me. But even with those disappointing moments, Bloober Team did an excellent job at bringing this beloved game back into the fold, and it's one of the best games available right now. Most of my criticisms are more of a personal thing to me, and others may not have any issues with it. So if you have a PS5 or PC, this is a no-brainer purchase. This game defied the odds. With Konami and Bloober Team's recent history, along with the head-scratching rollout and previews, most fans were expecting a less-than-worthy remake to the incredible Silent Hill 2. But what we got is one of the best remakes to ever come out, with its improved gameplay, stunning graphics, and sound design, and it mostly sticking to the original source material with its story. Silent Hill 2 Remake will give players old and new a similar experience that you would find on that original disc. I found it to be more terrifying, more fun, and for the most part, gave me the same feelings I had when I first finished that 20-plus-year-old masterpiece. Now we have two great versions of this very special story and game, and that puts a smile on my face. It's a work of art that deserved this quality of a remake, and even though it looked troubling in the beginning, all of that is now in the past. To everyone at Bloober Team and Konami, you made me happy.